Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And today we have a review of Alphalete Drop 2 of 2026. And this is also going to be their birthday sale launch. So every year at the end of February, Alphalete has their birthday sale. It is very similar to their Black Friday sale in terms of deals. Every new item launching today will be 10% off plus an additional 10% off at checkout with my code Kathryn. And then the rest of the site will be 10 to 80% off. So the birthday sale in combination with the Black Friday sale, these are really the big Alphalete sales of the year. So if you've been unsure about any pieces, been thinking about trying them, these two sales are definitely the time. Plus, if any of the new pieces catch your eye, you are getting a discount on them that you wouldn't normally get at a normal launch. So I am very excited for this launch because it is mostly a seamless launch focusing on pump. The pump line is Alphalete's glute lifting compression shorts and leggings. They come in a mid and a high rise, regular shorts, biker shorts now, and leggings, and actually also flares. So we have a whole lot of pump, and I personally feel like it's the most effective as well as the most subtle glute lifting legging on the market. So I love my pump leggings and shorts. So it's very exciting to see how much we have in this launch. We also have the return of the Sandy bras, which is one of the Alphalete bras recently that I can actually wear because they've been launching a lot of itty bitty bras that I can't fit into, but I love the Sandy bras. We have staple sweats as well as a restock of the staple cargos, as well as a full length seamless tops. So it's not a huge launch, but there are so many good pieces. So everything is launching on Saturday, February 28th at 12 p.m. Central Time. And if you don't already have their app, they usually do about an hour early access on their mobile app. So highly recommend checking that out if you have your eye on any of these pieces. And of course, if you are shopping the launch, I always appreciate if you use my code and it also gives you 10% off. All right, we have a bunch of new colors launching. We have Merlot, which is this deep wine red, dark fuchsia, which is this kind of magenta-y pinky purple, juniper green, which is kind of a sagey jade, poise, which is a nice light cool toned pink. We have seen this before, as well as indigo, which is a very deep dark indigo blue. All right, we're going to separate this review into some categories. We're going to have bottoms, tops, including sports bras, tops, and jackets, and then we will have lounge at the end. The only bottoms we are getting in this launch are pump. So I did just want to do a quick overview of pump, the fabric, etc. So we've seen pump a bunch of times before, but essentially all pump bottoms have similar features. They're made of a dense PK knit seamless, and this is more dense and compressive than traditional Alphalete Amplify seamless. So it gives you really good hold and compression, but it still remains stretchier than something like a Define Impact seamless, which I find to be a little bit too rigid and very hard to get on. It does take a little bit of work to get pump leggings on and situated into the right place, but I just tried on probably 8 pairs of pump bottoms in this review, and I have no rug burn on my hands or anything, and it's really not too difficult. So they are compressive, but they're not impossible to get on. All pump leggings have the 3-tiered compressive waistband that Alphalete started in their Amplify leggings. They're seamless leggings, so they have no front seam, and they also have a seamless transition from waistband to legging. And here's where we have that PK knit seamless. The fibers kind of form more of a honeycomb pattern. There's a lighter mesh area down the side that kind of contours with the body. And then we have the hourglass scrunch in the back. It creates kind of an hourglass. It widens at the top, narrows, and then widens again at the bottom to really give you a nice glute shaping moment. And the scrunch kind of sits between the glutes without you really having to pull it in there too much. So it just kind of sits automatically. You can see it's clearly not super scrunched. And then you have the most dense compressive region that forms this little panel right under the glutes that gives you the glute lifting effect without having a super obvious monkey butt moment. And then down the rest of the leg, you have more of that PK knit seamless that kind of compresses, smooths the legs, disguises cellulite a little bit. And those are the pump features in a nutshell. I also recently got asked if the pump leggings are pet fur friendly. And while I feel like Alphalete Amplify leggings and the Revive leggings are made of a little bit more of a sleek, seamless material, so they almost feel like a performance fabric in the way that they are just very cool to the touch, slick, and pet fur kind of rubs right off. I find with the honeycomb PK knit seamless of the pump leggings that pet fur and other fibers kind of want to work their way into the fabric, and it does not brush off easily. So for that reason, I prefer medium to light tone fabrics, but honestly, people ask me how I keep pet fur off of my leggings, and the solution is put on your leggings and walk out the door. Don't be sitting around at home in your outside leggings. At home, I basically only wear light colored sweats and lounge, and my gym clothes are just not worn at home because they would just get covered in fur. So that's just my little warning. I absolutely love pump, but I can collect some pet fur, and normally seamless leggings don't do that. All right, now into individual items launching. We have the pump mid-rise biker shorts. This is the first time we are seeing a bike short in pump. I got my normal size small, and these are a 7-inch inseam short. All the same features that we just talked about in pump: 3-tiered waistband, no front seam, slightly extended gusset, 7-inch inseam, hourglass scrunch in the back with the under glute compression. These are only coming in a mid-rise, and we're going to compare these to the mid-rise shorts that are not the biker version. The mid-rise shorts are said to be a 5-inch inseam. They really are more of a 4.5-inch inseam, so you do get quite a bit more length out of the biker shorts. So if you've been looking for a longer short, we finally have them. The mid-rise for the biker short is actually a little bit shorter than the regular short. It's about a 1/2 inch shorter in the rise. I did confirm with my friend Amy. She also found these to be a shorter rise, so it isn't just the one pair that I got. So I still think both of them fall within the mid-rise range, but I do prefer the rise of the regular shorts. And with that, the scrunch on the back of the biker shorts is also even shorter. It's only a 2-inch scrunch instead of the normal 2.5-inch on the regular shorts. So even though I feel like biker shorts are normally for taller girlies, I really think that you're going to like these best if you have a shorter torso and very short glutes, just because of the slight rise difference on these. Let's try these on. All right, here are the pump mid-rise biker shorts. So these are definitely lower than the rest of the shorts. I actually really like the alphalete pump short mid-rise, or just the alphalete mid-rise in general, except these are definitely lower. So I still would consider this mid-rise. It is showing full belly button. It's not anywhere close to low rise, but it's definitely a little bit shorter. True to size for these ones. I feel like all of the mid-rise ones are true to size or size up if in between. The indigo, because it is a darker color, also just runs a little bit more compressive. We have that 7-inch inseam. It covers basically the whole bulk of my thighs and also gives me some nice compression. So these will definitely not do any rolling up in the gym, and they're also not squishing my thighs anywhere. Something I really like about the pump shorts in general is that they have an even amount of compression all the way down the thigh, and the bottom is still snug, but it doesn't squeeze any more than any other part of the short. In contrast to how I felt with like the Honor Enhance Lift, I felt like those were super tight just at the bottom of the thigh. Alphalete Pump just has a nice compression all the way down. So you just feel nice and compressed. High compression, I never get any crotch tension in these. And then from the side, you can see the subtle lift. And we have that hourglass scrunch. You don't really have to work very hard to get it between the glutes. It just wants to sit right between the cheeks. We have the compressive panel under the glutes, and then the compression all the way down the thighs. You're going to get good cellulite coverage out of these. Because the rise is just a little bit shorter on these, that glute scrunch is the shortest out of any of the other shorts or leggings. So I really do feel like these are a short glute friendly legging. I do feel like they're just a little bit short for me. I do get just a little bit of dipping down in the back of the waist, a little bit more than I'd like. And in general, I could just use an extra 1/2 inch to full inch more on the rise for these. So I used to be a diehard biker short girly. Lately, I've been liking just the regular pump shorts, but I'm glad we now have this option. And of course, all pump is high on the booty scale. Okay, I actually noticed a difference between the pump biker shorts and the just regular pump shorts. So the regular pump shorts, they have that compression PK knit panel that contours right underneath the glute. You can see it's just this kind of 3-inch panel here. But the biker shorts, the highest compression area kind of just scoops around and then goes to the inner thigh, almost more like the Revive shorts. So the rest of the area underneath is actually just like the regular PK knit of the rest of the legging. So I still find that it gives a glute lifting effect, but it almost kind of like contours the inner thigh a little bit more, which is kind of nice. So that was a little difference I noticed. Then we're just going to talk through the rest of the items. I did get to try bottoms in all of the colors, so I have a quick ranking of the stretchiest versus the most compressive colors. Especially with seamless fabrics, the fit and compression can vary a lot based on the color. So keep this in mind if you like a stretchier or a more compressive fit. The highest stretch color was actually the dark fuchsia. I was very surprised putting this on, especially because this color is so close to acai berry, and that one was very compressive. So dark fuchsia I feel like was the stretchiest. The other two colors that I would still put in the ultra stretchy category would be poise and juniper green. Then kind of in the middle we have merlot. I felt like this was very middle of the road, stretchy but a little bit compressive. And then the most compressive colors are going to be indigo and black. Indigo I definitely felt like ran the most compressive out of all of these. Darker colors do tend to be more compressive just because of how much dye goes into the fabric. Next up we have pump mid-rise shorts. So like I said, these are labeled as a 5-inch, but they really are more of a 4.5-inch inseam. And they have a mid-rise. Most of them measure around 7 inches on the rise in the size small. 3-tiered waistband, no front seam, hourglass scrunch in the back with the under glute compression panel. These are a high compression short. They are also a high on the booty scale, super flattering in the back. Even as a long torso tall girly, I actually really like the mid-rise shorts. I go back and forth between the mid-rise and the high rise, and personally I like both of them. I like Alphalete's mid-rise because it never like squeezes me at my love handle area, and it kind of goes up just like a little bit at the sides. So it's still very flattering and covers all the areas I like to cover, but we still see a little bit of belly button. So I love my mid-rise shorts. I'm constantly reaching for these. In terms of sizing, true to size, with the mid-rise, they run just like a teeny bit smaller than the high-rise. So if you're in between, I would size up, but I tried sizing up once and it just didn't fit how it was supposed to. So these are meant to be compressive and lifting. Next up, we have the Pump high-rise shorts. So these are about an inch higher in rise than the mid-rise shorts, and these are also a true 5-inch inseam. All the same features. We have the 3-tiered waistband, no front seam, the little contoured mesh panel on the side, the hourglass scrunch in the back, and the under glute compression. Quick comparison between the mid and the high-rise shorts. So like I said, these are more of a true high-rise. The high-rise is going to hit more at the natural waist. For me, it just barely covers my belly button, and the mid-rise goes just below my belly button. The high-rise shorts also fit a little bit longer, so they're more of a true 5-inch inseam. And I actually feel like the biggest difference between the mid and the high-rise shorts comes down to the glute space in the back. Since the rise on the high-rise shorts is increased, you also get about an inch to inch and a half of extra glute space in the back. So if you feel like you never had quite enough glute space, you're more of a long glute girly, you may prefer the high-rise shorts. Personally, out of all of the Pump items, the high-rise shorts do fit me the best. They have the perfect amount of glute space, but I still get a little bit of under glute compression and lift. I would say I have pretty medium length glutes, so I can kind of fit into everything, but I do find the back rise of these is really nice. It doesn't go up too high, and it also doesn't get pulled down. So if you're a long torso girly, long glute girly, or if you just have really large glutes and want a little bit of extra space for them, I recommend the high rise shorts. But you can see the side by side, they both look really good. I think the mid rise may give a little bit more of an under glute lift just because of where that panel sits on me. But this is the second time we've seen high rise Pump. So let me know in the comments down below if you like the mid rise or the high rise and how you feel about them. For the Pump high rise shorts, they are true to size, but they do run, again, a teeny bit bigger than the mid-rise, so if you're in between, you could really go either way. High compression, high on the booty scale, like everything on Pump. Next, we have the Pump mid-rise leggings. So the leggings all run a teeny bit higher rise than the shorts. So these average about a 7.25-inch rise on the size small. 3-tiered waistband, no front seam, hourglass scrunch in the back, under glute compression panel. These are a high compression, high on the booty scale, mid-rise fit. The inseam on the leggings is about 24.5, but seamless leggings, I am always able to get them to fit me as a full length because they have a lot of vertical stretch. So for my tall girlies, if you're not pulling your leggings down all the way to your ankles after you put them on, highly recommend doing it because you can almost always get a traditional legging to fit full length if you adjust it right. It's crazy to think that the first time I tried Pump, I wasn't sure about it. And now whenever I'm between launches and like not testing out new products for the gym, I'm always reaching for my Pump because it makes me feel so good. It performs so well in the gym. The fabric is actually very durable because of that PK knit. And it honestly just makes me look so good. But this is my little warning / reminder not to wear glute compression / glute sculpting leggings all the time because it can kind of distort how you view yourself. I don't feel like Pump makes you look really different. I do feel like it just kind of like compresses and enhances just a bit. But sometimes I see people get a little bit of body dysmorphia when they're constantly wearing glute compression leggings. They don't even really remember what their body is supposed to look like normally. So here's just my reminder, while I love my Pump leggings and shorts, I don't wear them all the time. I do wear them as much as I can mentally handle though, because I do love them. Next up, we have the Pump high-rise leggings. Again, similar to the mid-rise leggings, these do just run a little bit higher in the rise compared to the shorts. I also feel like the high-rise just runs a little bit bigger than the mid-rise in general, like regardless of color. I do feel like this juniper green, I did have too much room in the glutes though, so it didn't make me feel great. Again, all of the same features as the rest of the Pump pieces. Quick comparison between the Pump mid-rise and the Pump high-rise. Very similar to the shorts. For me, mid-rise hits below my belly button. For me, high-rise just barely covers my belly button. It's not a huge difference, only about an inch. And then the biggest difference comes in the back with the increased glute space and increased scrunch length on the high rise. So high rise is going to be the best option for my taller girlies, the long torsos, the longer glutes, and if you just wanted a little bit more glute space in general. I feel like the mid-rise Pump does a little bit more like under glute compression and lifting, and the high rise Pump almost does a little bit more under glute shaping because that compression panel doesn't come onto the glutes quite as much. Personally, again, I think the pump high-rise shorts fit me better than the pump high-rise leggings. And I did just want to throw in a comparison between the juniper green and the indigo high-rise pump, because like I said, there are some color differences, and I do feel like the juniper green runs a little bit bigger, is a bit stretchier, and I much preferred the fit of the high-rise pump in the indigo versus the juniper green. I didn't have any extra fabric in the indigo. The scrunch sat perfectly between the cheeks. The underglute compression area wasn't giving me any sort of double butt. I did feel like I had to adjust the juniper green a bit more when I was working out in the gym, and I almost wanted to size down in them. And lastly, for our pump bottoms, we have the pump mid-rise flare pant. This is the first time we're seeing a pump flare. Everything on the top is very normal for pump. So 3-tiered waistband, no front seam. We have that little contoured mesh side panel. We have the hourglass scrunch. This is a mid-rise. It does sit just a little bit higher than the mid-rise classic legging. So I feel like this is kind of more of like a mid to high rise between the high and the mid-rise. And then they created the flare by adding a piece of fabric that goes all the way down the gusset and just kind of slowly widens. I got the size small tall with these, and I do feel like Alphalete has to work on their inseams or start coming out with 3 inseams for the flare pants, because tell me why the regular length inseam is a 33.5, which is like a normal tall inseam for flares. The tall inseam is a 35.5 inch, and let me tell you, I was swimming in these so much that I had to put a shoe on just to do the try on because I was actually tripping over my own feet, and I'm 5'9". That never happens to me. So I really feel like the 33.5 inch inseam would be great for like 5'7" to like 5'10". And then if you're like 5'11 plus, you can get the tall inseam, which means a whole lot of girlies won't even be able to wear these pump flares just because they are so tall. So I don't know when Alphalete started doing these like really tall inseams, but their inseams have been crazy long lately. And I'm all for having an extra tall inseam for my extra tall girlies, because how often can my 6 foot tall girlies really shop normal gym brands? It's not very common, but they're still excluding a lot of people with their current inseams. So I'd rather see more inseams added, not just like shifting them all to be taller. I'm not really understanding that. I will say that these are quite comparable to the Amplify flare leggings. So let's compare these. The Amplify flares are said to be an ultra high rise, which doesn't make any sense because the rise is only half an inch higher than the mid-rise pump. So oftentimes I don't really agree with Alphalete's rise ratings. So I feel like the Amplify are a high rise and the pump are a mid to high rise. They have a very similar gusset style and leg shape. They both are kind of more of a boot cut flare. So they're a narrower flare style, which actually makes them to be pretty good for working out in the gym because they're not such a big flare that they get in the way of like machinery. So these are one of the few flare leggings that I actually do wear to work out in. They are both thick calf friendly as well. They both have the 3-tiered compressive waistband. The Amplify are more of a medium to high compression. The pump are a true high compression. Then in the back is where we get most of the differences. The Amplify flare have the classic Amplify scrunch. It's just a 4-column scrunch with no underglute compression, contour detail, or anything. I still consider these a high on the booty scale, but they don't have any glute compression. And then as we talked about today, pump has the hourglass scrunch. It's a bit thicker. I would say it's not as shiny though. And we have that underglute compression panel that actually gives your glutes some shaping and some lift. I do just want to do a comparison of the Amplify seamless, which is more of a jersey knit seamless. So the fibers are more vertically oriented compared to pump that has that PK knit seamless. They're more of a honeycomb pattern. So let's try these on. All right, we got the pump flares. If you just take the Amplify flares and the mid-rise pump leggings, that's exactly what these are. So these are a bit higher than the other mid-rise leggings in my opinion, but I still would consider them mid-rise. We have the 3-tiered waistband, no front seam, and the flare is created by the gusset that goes all the way down the leg. You have that little side panel detail as well as the underglute contour, which is giving the classic pump lift in the back. You have the pump hourglass scrunch, high on the booty scale, cellulite friendly, nice compression on the back of the legs. I would say these are overall giving a high compression on the top part. And then we get to the bottom. So I actually really like the shape of Alphalete seamless flares. They're a nice kind of like boot cut flare. They're very minimal flaring, but they're not Clydesdale horsing. And I've never had another flare that's not like a super dramatic bell bottom or just like a big flare in general that doesn't cling to my calves. So these are big calf friendly. They do start to get a little bit loose around the knee. I think my problem with these is that they're just so long. I don't know when Alphalete decided that 35 inches or 35.5 was the new tall inseam, because let me tell you, I've been reviewing flare leggings for quite some time and the standard inseams are 29, 31, 33. And I do feel like seamless, like you might need like a little bit longer of an inseam. So maybe 34 inches, but for the regular inseam to be 33.5 and the tall to be this long, like you guys, I am tall. You've seen me in tall flares. They normally fit really well. I had to put a shoe on just to make these work for me, or else they were just all over the ground. But you can see just like how much extra fabric these have. Like I have never had leggings be like this baggy on my shoes, and I just feel like they look a little bit silly. So I really wish they would adjust their inseams, because how are the shorties wearing the flares? They're not. So I apologize to honestly even average height people. Average height to shorter girlies. Like you just can't wear these. So I think in the future I would get the regular inseam on the flares, because these obviously just look a little bit silly. But I do really like these as a concept. The way they fit and the way they're constructed is really nice. It's just the inseam issue. It just looks a little bit silly. All right, I got the regular length pump flares just to see. I think that they do fit just a little bit short. Like sometimes seamless flares are just a little bit shorter because of the way that the stretch is. So I think as a tall girly, like a 34 to 34.5 would be perfect. But I think that the current long inseam of 35.5 is just a little bit too long. I would say this is definitely a lot closer. So keep in mind the normal inseam you prefer for flares, because I do think they just run a little bit too long. I feel like these just fit a little bit better overall. And our last bottom, these do feel a bit random because there's no other Aura pieces in the launch, but we have the Aura wide leg pants. These are back. I did review these in detail last time, but these are made of the Alphalete Aura fabric. The Aura fabric is a nylon spandex brushed lightweight naked feel material. So it has a soft hand feel and is very high stretch. These have a mid to high rise, double thickness waistband, no front seam, slightly extended gusset. They have a little contour seam detail that kind of comes and contours the waist a little bit and curves along the side of the leg. We have the tonal script branding in the back, curved glute seams, and a subtle elasticated scrunch detail up the back. These are a low compression and a high on the booty scale. And I would say these are short to medium glute friendly. They work for me, but I would say they work for basically everyone. So I do feel like they're really well done in the back. These are a true wide leg pant. I would say they have a semi-relaxed fit. I do have a bit of fabric underneath the glute area, and they flare about upper thigh. They have mild to moderate ride up. So in terms of the lengths, the regular is a 33.5 and the tall is a 36. And that actually works for wide leg pants as opposed to flares, because all wide leg pants ride up around 2 inches. So you can see in the try on of the wide leg pants, the 36 inch is actually a perfect fit on me as a 5'9" girly. But the 35.5 on the flare pants was dragging on the ground, because that's too tall for flare pants. But for wide and straight leg pants, the standard inseams tend to be 31 for short, 33 for regular, and 35 to 36 for long. So I think the length on the wide legs work. So I feel like I really liked these pants when I first got them. So when I first got them, they have the scrunch in the back. Wide leg pants I feel like are especially prone to camel toe. And if you add a scrunch to the back, you're almost guaranteed to get camel toe. When I first tried these on, I was able to adjust the scrunch to where it actually wasn't causing me any problems. So I was like, great, I like these pants. Since they launched in December, I find that I don't reach for them that often because I find myself less and less able to deal with the crotch tension situation. So while I do find these super flattering and super comfy, unfortunately the crotch tension situation has just gotten to a point where I can no longer really comfortably wear these. Therefore, I don't really recommend them a lot anymore, especially if you're camel toe prone like me. So I kind of wish they would do a version without the scrunch. They also just run just like a little bit big in the leg. So they're a bit more of a slouchy fit compared to some of the other straight legs. All right, we have made it to the tops, bras, and jackets section of the video. Starting out with the Sandy bras, we have seen these before. These are made of a classic Alphalete seamless material. The main part of the bra feels more like Amplify, but they do have a more compressive PK knit seamless like the pump on the sides and the back. Just an up close of the bra, we have a little ruche detail in the front. It all has this piping around the edges. Then you can see at the side here, we have this little contour transition. It's not wrinkled like that when you wear it, but this part is the jersey knit seamless, and then it transitions into that PK knit seamless. It is a little bit more compressive along the back. Alphalete has definitely been doing a lot of low coverage bras lately, but this is one bra that looks like it wouldn't be good for large cup sizes, but it is actually one of my favorites. It's definitely a cleavage moment, but it keeps you in place. I have never once been worried about falling out of this bra, and it's actually pretty supportive. V neckline, scrunch detail in the front, inverted V along the bra band. You do have to size up in this one though. I will do a comparison comparison of the small versus the medium, it's not just that you get a little bit more coverage in the size up, but it runs very snug. So it did last time as well. So whatever size you wore in the Sandy bra the first time, get the same size, but just know I wear a medium in the Sandy bra and I'm almost always a size small. Definitely size up. The straps are adjustable. You can wear it with the straps either straight up and down or crisscrossed. I will show both ways. I do prefer to wear them crisscrossed. They just stay up a little bit better. I just prefer when my straps cross, but if you like to avoid too many things on your traps, you can wear them straight up and down. We have the A logo in the front, and this one also comes in this fun little white contrast piping detail. So let's try this on. All right, here we have the Sandy bra. It's an absolute must to size up in this one. It does run a full size too small. Why they didn't correct that last time, I don't know, but whatever size you liked in the Sandy bra before, get the same size. So we have this nice little scrunch detail in the front. It has a V-neck and also a little inverted V along the bottom. I find this bra to be super flattering, and while it doesn't look like a supportive bra, it actually really is. Like, I feel very compressed and supported in this, and this has probably been my favorite alphalete seamless bra in a while, which is saying a lot because first impressions I was like, this isn't gonna work for me, but it actually does really lock and load the girls. The seamless material is nice and compressive and very rigid, and I honestly barely move around at all, and I wear this to the gym all the time, and I have never once felt like I was going to fall out of it. So while it is a low to medium coverage, it still is a nice medium support. I would consider it large cup size friendly, but again, large cup sizes, really everyone, definitely sizing up is necessary. We have this piping detail around the edge. We still have the A logo in the front. I wish it was moved to the back. Again, not a big fan of this A logo. Not a deal breaker for me, but I wish it wasn't there. And then I did go ahead and crisscross the straps on this one. It does give a little bit of extra lift and just a little bit of extra security. Nothing falling off. I really feel like they could move the A logo to the center back right here. But yeah, I'm so glad that they have Sandy bras this launch, because out of all of the kind of more like minimal coverage bra, this one actually does really work for me, both functionally and, let's be honest, it just looks good. It's lifting the girls up. I feel good and it supports me. Okay, I did just want to show the contrast version of the bra. I had to get it. I love the little contrast piping moment. This is another medium, but this time I have the straps straight up and down. I don't find that they really fall off, but I do like that they're adjustable and that you can crisscross them. And I will say the trade-off to this bra being so kind of like rigid and supportive is it can get a bit uncomfortable at times, especially if you have the straps too tight. This piping detail can be just a little bit rigid, as well as under the arms. It's cut away from the lats enough where I don't experience any chafing, but this isn't like a soft, comfy seamless bra. This is like the kind of bra that's going to compress you and keep the girls where they're supposed to be. I love to be compressed in a sports bra because that makes me feel very secure. But if you're more of like a comfy, relaxed sports bra kind of girl, I don't think this would be the one for you. Then we have the crossed push tank. So we've seen push tanks many a time, but the crossed push tank is new. So this is made of that same stretchy seamless. This one feels more like the Amplify seamless. It has a little bit more of a sleek feel. It's very stretchy. We have a slight V neckline. The piping detail actually comes in the center. It's almost like kind of a sweetheart neckline. A waist length fit. We have this under bust compression detail that's supposed to kind of contour and push the girls up a little bit. We have crisscrossing straps that are adjustable in the back, and all of the push tanks have a built-in shelf liner, but there are no cup pads and no room for cup pads, so really no nippage protection in this one. So personally, I have a lot of issues with the push tanks. I don't really like any of them. I really wish that they would make some changes because they just have a bunch of fit issues, but alas, they continue to launch them. So anyways, I will do a quick comparison between the OG push tank and the crossed push tank. So they are about the same length. They're both about a waist length fit, but there is a significant amount more bust space in the crossed push tank. So I feel a lot better in the bust area in the crossed push tank versus the OG. The OG is more of a scooped neckline. The crossed has a slight V neckline. It has that little like sweetheart detail. They both have that underbust contour detail. They both have adjustable straps. And in the back, we see a lot more differences. The OG push tank has more of a scooped back and it has the A logo. The crossed push tank is a little bit more straight across in the back. The straps cross and it just has the alphalete.world mark in the back. So comparing the two, I definitely prefer the crossed push tank, but I really am just not a push tank girly. I don't really like these tops. So let's try this on. Every time they do a push tank, I feel like they get a little bit closer, but they always kind of miss the mark for me. I just feel like they always fit really weird. There's always this tiny little tutu flare along the hem, and then the inner shelf bra is like excruciatingly tight, and sizing up does not help because then the bottom is really loose. loose. I also feel like the bust area is just kind of like shifted inwards a little bit, and I'm getting some side boob here, and the little underbust contour always kind of sits on my bust because I do have a larger cup size. So I don't know who the push tanks work for, but they're really not for me. I've tried them a bunch of times, and then I just end up regretting not getting a different color top to go with this set, like instead of the push tank, you know? So anyways, we do have more bust space compared to the normal push tank. So I am actually able to wear this to the gym and not fall out of it. It just kind of fits uncomfortably still. I would still give it a low to medium coverage. We have that little slight V-neck here. We have the under bust contour detail. We have the inner shelf lining with no cup pads, no space for cup pads as well. We have a waist length fit, again, with that little tutu flare. For some reason, the little hem area just kind of wants to stick out, and it just bothers me. I would say overall, it is mostly true to size. Again, I warn against sizing up because the waist area gets big and then it just looks kind of awkward. And then in the back, the straps do crisscross. We have the wordmark logo, which I like compared to the A logo. And it's a little bit more straight across in the back, less of a scoop. Personally, if I wanted more coverage instead of a bra this launch, I would definitely be going for the glass tee or the glass long sleeve as opposed to this. Comment down below if the push tanks work for you. They've never worked for me. I do think they work for people with smaller cup sizes, but I don't know how that impacts like the waist area. I still feel like it's a little awkward here. Next up, we have some exciting new seamless tops. We have the glass tee, the glass long sleeve, and the glass jacket, which is more of a zip shirt. We'll get into that. So the glass tee, it's made of the classic kind of more amplify feeling fabric, very stretchy, a little bit more sleek to the touch. We have a slight scoop neckline, short sleeves, high hip length fit. This is longer than something like the Alphalete baby tees. I'll do a quick side-by-side comparison of the baby tee versus the new glass tee. The glass tee is made of a seamless fabric. It's going to be a little bit more workout friendly, going to show a little bit less sweat. It is overall a more snatching compressive fit, as well as quite a bit longer. The baby tee is a cotton spandex, more of a waist length, and I feel like a little bit more suited for lifestyle. We've had the glass tank before, and that's where the glass name comes from, and it has a similar side panel detail. So we can see there's this little ribbed detail that goes down the side of the shirt that just helps to snatch the waist a little bit. It's straight across along the bottom and has the little A logo in the bottom left. Okay. You guys know I love a seamless top, and I especially love a seamless top when it's done right, and this one actually exceeds expectations. So first of all, I thought it was going to be a crew neckline, but it's actually a slight scoop neck, which just gives a little bit of relief away from the neck if you are someone who doesn't really like a super close crew neck, but it's not like you're at risk of showing anything, or even if you wear a more high neck bra, you're still not going to see it underneath, so I love the neckline. We have short sleeves on this one. This one's made of a more sleek, seamless material. We do have the logo bottom left. Again, would have preferred tonal branding, but I love the length of this one. Even if I wear the mid-rise pump leggings, it's still going to cover because it does hit just a little bit past high hip, still have good coverage, doesn't raise up much when you move your arms. And I would say that this is mostly a body skimming fit. I would stick true to size if you're in between. I lean towards sizing up because it's a little bit on the snug side, especially in the bust area, but this is a super high stretch fabric. So if you are someone who likes to be really compressed, you could size down. It's not something I would personally recommend though. Then we have that little panel detailing at the side that just helps everything feel a little bit more snatched. And then the back is very simple. I think this is a really nice basic top, and really nice to have these longer length tops. Instead of the itty bitty crops we used to always get from Alphalete, we're finally getting some actual full length stuff. Next, we have the glass long sleeve. It is the same length as the glass tee. They both measure 19 inches from the top of the shoulder to the hem, and they're both a high hip fit. Same exact details. We have the scoop neckline. We have that little side body sculpting detail, except this one also has long sleeves. Although I do really like these shirts, I do wish that they were made a little bit more with performance in mind. I think they're plenty comfortable and good for gym workouts. They're nice and compressive, snatching, cute, maybe even for lifestyle. I do feel like some of the seam detail does get a little bit bulky inside the shirt here. So this is that shoulder area. You do have quite a bit of seams going on. I will say this isn't unusual. I looked at a lot of other short and long sleeves in my closet. I will say the majority of them don't use flat lock seams for a long sleeve like this. But for me personally, I see a seamless long sleeve sleeve like this, and I immediately think I want to wear this for running. And whenever I think about a running piece, I want to avoid as much bulkiness and chafing as possible. So I wish it was a little bit more seamless on the inside. Like I said, that's not unusual for shirts. It's just something I would have liked to see. I do want to do a little side-by-side comparison of the alphalete glass long sleeve versus something like the Buff Bunny seamless long sleeve. This came in 2 lengths, but I'm going to compare the full length version because this is the one I prefer. So the glass long sleeve from alphalete is much more of a compressive, kind of more dense seamless feel. It has a lot more weight to it and a lot more of a snatching quality. The Buff Bunny seamless long sleeve I do feel like was really created with performance in mind, so it just depends what you're going for. I think the glass is really good for lifting, but I would choose something more like Buff Bunny for running. We have a slightly softer neckline, and it's a crew neckline. The material in general is a lot more lightweight, stretchy. It's also a little bit more sheer. The glass long sleeve was very opaque. The Buff Bunny seamless long sleeve also has some more like ventilation areas along the side of the body, underneath the armpit. So again, made with more runners in mind. And the Buff Bunny seamless long sleeve also has this ribbed cuff area with thumb holes. The alphalete glass long sleeve just kind of has longer sleeves, but no thumb holes. And lastly, the Buff Bunny one is quite a bit longer. It's an over the hip length, and the glass long sleeve is a high hip length. And I just want to show the inside of the Buff Bunny long sleeve. It honestly doesn't feel like a complete flat lock seam here, but it is quite a bit less bulky than the alphalete one. So just a little seamless comparison for you guys. Let's try this on. All right. Same thing as the glass tee, except in the long sleeve version. Again, a nice high hip length on these. This is a little bit shorter than the jacket we'll talk about in a second, but still gives a nice full coverage. I just love a long seamless top with a seamless legging outfit. It just like is so sleek, it's so stretchy, and you just feel like nicely compressed everywhere. Compressed, but not squished down. So we have that similar kind of more scoop neckline, which I feel like is unique compared to other seamless tops. Sleek seamless material. True to size if you're in between. I would probably recommend sizing up, but I don't recommend sizing up outright. Little compression panel at the side here, logo at the bottom. Very simple in the back, and the sleeves are nice and long. Probably something we could have had a thumb hole on, but we didn't. I do really love this indigo color. This is definitely more of a gym to lifestyle seamless top, not something that's super performance. I think I could definitely wear this one running and it would still be very functional. I really love running in seamless tops, whether it's short sleeve or long sleeve, so I could definitely see this for that, but it doesn't have quite as many features as something like the Buff Bunny seamless top. And the last of the glass tops, we have the glass jacket. You guys know how I feel about jackets calling themselves jackets when there are no pockets. This is a zip up long sleeve, okay? It is very hard to put pockets on a seamless jacket, so I've heard. I don't know. I would have loved to see pockets on it, okay? I'll get off my soapbox now. Anyways, we have the glass jacket. Basically the same material as the glass long sleeve, the glass short sleeve, except in jacket form. The length on this one is 20 inches compared to 19 inches for the glass tops. So this one actually is a little bit longer. I would say it's more like mid to high hip. So a really great length for a zip up. We have a full zip with a mock neck collar. We have some mesh panel detailing as well as some of that ribbed detail down the side. Here's an up close of some of that detail there. It is a very stretchy material. And then we have long sleeves, again, no thumb holes, something I would have liked to see. The logo is center back. And I do think this is the best seamless jacket that alphalete has done. I want to quickly compare it to the shape jacket that we saw last year. I wasn't a big fan of the shape jacket. First of all, the shape jacket is made of a more compressive material, so it did have more of a snatching feel. The glass jacket is actually pretty stretchy. The glass jacket measures 20 inches from shoulder to hem. The shape jacket measures around 16 inches, although it does curve up a bit at the side. It has a more contoured hemline compared to the glass jacket that's just flat across. I felt like the shape jacket was more of a waist length. They both have mock neck collars, full zips, and tonal zippers. The shape jacket also has the alphalete wordmark logo at the front left. Glass jacket has the A logo in the center back, kind of underneath your hair, so you don't really see it as much. And the shape jacket has a little bit denser, thicker contour details, and it was also a little bit more loose at the bottom. I think the fit on the glass jacket is a little bit better. So let's try this on. All right, here we have the glass jacket, or shall we say glass zip-up shirt, because that's really what this is. I don't know what it is with brands lately doing these jackets that just don't have pockets. Like, would have been nice to have some pockets. I do think it's hard to put pockets on a seamless jacket. I don't know if I've seen pockets on a seamless jacket, but to Buff Bunny and Petula, who just did this with non-seamless jackets, there's no excuse, okay? But I still would have liked a pocket here. Anyways, first thing to say about this jacket, love the length. it goes down, I would say mid to high hip. Absolutely no skin will be showing in the mid-rise or the high-rise on these. I really do love the length. This is not a locking zipper. It does just kind of want to unzip. So I do wish they had used a locking zipper, but I find that it can stay pretty well right at the bust area here or zipped all the way up. I also am really glad they kind of dialed in the fit on this. I would say it's body skimming. If you want a snatching BBL fit, I would be sizing down. It'll definitely be tight, but my overall recommendation is true to size. Personally, I'm happy with the size small. I'm not getting any waist snatching, but that's really okay with me. We have this mock neck collar. The zipper does have colored matching hardware here. We have these mesh panels on the side that create some of that body sculpting compression. And then very simple in the back. I like that they put the logo on the back of the jacket, not on the front. The sleeves are really long. Again, I do wish they put a thumb hole because they're long enough to have a thumb hole, but alas, they don't have one. So very stretchy material, very lightweight, more of a sleek seamless. It does create a nice little three-piece outfit, especially with the Sandy bra. It just creates like this little cleavage moment. Very cute. Okay guys, we have finally made it to the lounge section of the video. So we have a return of the staple sweats, which is very exciting. This is my favorite material that Alphalete has done. It just feels like the highest quality. It's been super durable. I have been wearing the heck out. I don't even know where they are. I'm wearing the heck out of my staple cargo pants, which are finally restocking. They're a cotton poly blend. They're a heavyweight, just kind of a classic sweatshirt material. It does look to be more of a brushed terry, but they are very, very soft on the inside. The outside, they just have a classic sweatshirt feel. And the inside, they are nice and thick, nice and soft and fuzzy. Starting out with these staple hoodies, we have seen these before. These are more of an oversized unisex fit. So I got a size small. It kind of fits like a medium to large. So just keep that in mind. You could definitely size down if you don't want it to be oversized. I just get nervous about sizing down, and I don't mind the slightly relaxed fit. So heavyweight material, oversized fit. If you're in between sizes, you can really do whatever you want. It's a sweatshirt. If you'd like it to be super oversized, feel free to size up, but you could size down if you wanted. Classic hoodie shape. It is an over the hip length, but it actually has some good drape to the fabric, even though it's a heavyweight. So it can kind of sit at the high hip if you want it to. We have a spacious kangaroo pocket. We have the tonal Alphalete branding here. This is exactly what I like to see. If you're gonna do the Avengers A logo, I want to see it be tonal. So I love that. We have a very large oversized hood, and it has this little like wrap detail in the front that keeps your neck nice and warm. So it's a very cozy sweatshirt. Slight drop shoulder, slight relaxed sleeve with little ribbed cuffs at the end. And I couldn't entirely tell by the info that they sent us, but I believe this alpine green and the navy blue, there's no graphic on the back of the sweatshirt, but it looks like the white and the black both have a sort of graphic on the back of the sweatshirt. I'm all for no graphics. So I'm glad that this happened to not have a graphic because I kind of was expecting it to have a graphic, but just keep that in mind. It's going to depend on the color that you get. And then we have our staple sweatpants. Again, we did just review these recently. So I got my normal size small. I would say true to size. If you're in between though, I would size up because the waist is a pretty good fit on me in a size small. So if you're in between sizes, I would be sizing up for the waist. It's said to be a low rise. They really sit more of a mid to high rise. So I'm not really understanding calling them a low rise. They're mid to high. You can kind of play around where they hit you on the waist, but they're definitely not low rise. They're made of that same heavyweight fleece fabric. The staple sweatpants have an elasticated waistband with an external drawstring, 2 front pockets, and the A logo near the left front pocket. They are a wide leg, which I love a wide leg sweatpant. They also have good structure to them, so they just like look really nice as a wide leg sweatpant. These are by far one of my favorite sweatpants that Alphalete has done. The material feels so good. It's so dense. It's so durable. It's soft. It's warm. I did just want to compare the two lengths though. So again, Alphalete with the lengths that just don't make any sense. The regular inseam is a 31 inch and the tall is a 33 inch. Honestly, it measures closer to a 34 inch. So it is a very tall inseam. I just did my sweatpants review and I would say most sweatpants have a tall inseam of 31 to 32 inches because they're sweatpants. The crotch doesn't go up as high as it does on a legging. So you get a bit of extra inseam length with a slight drop crotch. So I do feel like their inseams again are a little bit long on this. Again, I'm 5'9", like 33 to 34 inches is normally like a pretty good inseam on me for flare leggings. I actually prefer the regular length here. My alpine green are a regular length inseam at 31 inches and my heather gray are that 33 to 34 inch tall and they just kind of drag on the ground for me. So it's just not really like super wearable out in public. I don't like my pants to be dragging along the ground. So I actually like the regular inseam. And again, you can kind of play around with the inseam by wearing them a little bit lower on your hips, a little bit higher on your hips. The lower you wear them, the longer they're gonna be. So I do love these sweatpants, but again, I do think we need one slightly shorter inseam. At least one. And lastly, you guys, these staple cargo pants are back. I wear a size small. These staple cargos only come in one inseam and it's 31.5. Personally, it works very well for me. I will say I'm not quite understanding why the staple cargos come in different colors than these staple sweats. So they don't all have matching sweatshirts, but I know you guys have been waiting for the staple cargos. I reviewed these in my sweatpants video and these were a very popular choice. So quick overview of these. I consider these more of a mid to high rise again. We have an elasticated waistband, but for the cargos, the drawstring is on the inside of the waistband. We have 2 front pockets, 2 cargo side pockets, and 2 cargo booty pockets. The cargo flaps on these pockets are not tacked down at all, so they can kind of like flap around a little bit, but they're pretty structured, so it's not a huge deal. That's just like in comparison to the Aritzia cargos that are tacked down. We also have that Tonal A logo on the right side cargo pocket, so very subtly placed. These are another wide leg fit. True to size, again, if you're in between, I would size up, and I forgot to mention this for the staple cargo pants, but if you're the kind of girly who likes to wear your sweats over your leggings, you definitely will get fuzzies on them from these, at least before the first wash. So keep that in mind. I personally never wear sweatpants over my leggings because I live somewhere warm, but I don't know if you guys are just like bringing lint rollers with you or what, because I feel like this is a common problem. Yet everyone wears their sweats over their leggings. Again, nice heavyweight material. I have also washed these and worn them a lot. Like I reach for these a lot and I don't have any pilling between the thighs, and they also have remained the same length, and I put these in the dryer. So very durable material. I highly recommend the cargos. I think they're so cute and they fit really well. Again, I would like to see multiple lengths in them though. Okay, you guys, that is everything launching for Alphalete Drop 2. All the pieces I just mentioned will be 10% off plus an additional 10% off with my code Kathryn at checkout. That just goes for these specific colors. But let's say there's a pair of pump leggings from a few launches ago, it will be even more of a percentage off. I tend not to get quite as much info for the birthday sale versus the Black Friday sale, but I will link my Black Friday sale video down below if you have any questions about other little items. Just a super quick overview of some other favorites. Again, I don't know the specific percentages off of all of the pieces, but some other pieces from Alphalete that I love. I really do feel like they have the best seamless leggings out of anyone. They truly are the best and I keep going for them. So whether you pick Pump, Amplify, or Revive, they're all great leggings. Again, everything will be 10 to 80% off. Things that have been on the website longer will be higher percentages off. I also really like the Amplify flares. Those should be probably at least 20% off, 20 to 30. I love, love, love my Aura Sculpt jacket. That one, best jacket of the year last year. Highly recommend the Aura Sculpt jacket. The Alphalete baby tees are also one of the best baby tees. First of all, they're like a 95% cotton, 5% spandex, great material. It actually still feels athletic even though it's mostly cotton. It has good stretch to it. They're also pretty opaque and they just like have that classic baby tee look. And during Black Friday, we got the Aura Form tanks. I also really, really love those, and those should be probably at least, again, 20 to 30% off. So those are some of my Alphalete picks. Let me know if you guys have questions about anything down below, and I will do my best to answer them. Again, the birthday sale in Drop 2 will be happening on Saturday, February 28th at 12 p.m. Central Time, and code Kathryn gives you 10% off, and everything will be 10 to 80% off the website. So I always love the birthday sale. Again, these are the best deals you're gonna get until Black Friday, which is quite a ways away. So after plenty of yapping, we are done with the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!